Are Kiwis getting more sensitive? According to the latest offensive language report, we might be. The Broadcasting Standards Authority have released this year's offensive words list, and it turns out New Zealanders are more sensitive to swear words on broadcast than they were 4 years ago. So, what makes a word bad? And why is it that some words are seen as more offensive now than they used to be? Andreea Calude is with us, Waikato University linguistics expert. Andreea, good morning.
Kia ora, Ryan.
Nice to have you on the program. Now tell me, I mean, we can't say the words, so this is going to be an interesting conversation. But why do you think our attitudes to some words change over time?
Well, all of language changes all the time. There's always a bit of, flux, waxing and waning. Some words come in, some words come out, and we change our opinions about language use. Language is not inherently bad or naughty, as we tell children. Language is all about context, of course. So broadcasting language lives in a very particular context. And so the way that people feel about that language can also change with our beliefs around formality and around different registers.
Andreea, again, I'm just wanting to say the words, but there are some words around mental health, how you might describe somebody who has a mental health issue. And I was surprised actually to see that one of those words is no longer as offensive as it used to be. And I would have thought that, given where we're at as a society with those types of issues, that it would be going in the other direction. Were you surprised by some of these results?
Well, yes and no. I mean, in general, when we have sensitive topics, and there are particular areas in our lives that are sensitive topics that are taboo, like sexuality and actions around those, and gender and identity words, then there are going to be changes and new words come in, and then some of the words that we used before kind of fall out of use. And as they fall out of use, people sometimes also forget about their kind of strength, I suppose. They lose their power. There are always changes. Another category that has seen quite a lot of changes, more changes perhaps, is that of religious words. So taboo words connected to religious things. That category seems to have very few items in it these days.
As in, we are more tolerant of swear words or words that are offensive relating to religion.
Yeah, there's in fact only a single word in that top, I think it's the top 10 or top 20 item list that has to do with religion. So whether we're more tolerant of it or whether we have many other words that we're more concerned with is a matter of debate, I guess.
Can you get away with saying words if you're gay, for example? Can I say I'm a homo and that's okay?
Well, that's a really interesting question. So some of these words have been reclaimed or in a bid to kind of, if you like, quote unquote, rehabilitate them. So the B word for referring to women has seen this kind of thing over a really long time, back to the 1960s. There have been efforts for women to reclaim the word in a bid to overturn some of the negative associations and pejorative meanings that come with it. So if me as a group member of that group, if I use it to describe myself in a positive and proud way, then that might be termed kind of reclaiming or rehabilitating the word. Now, of course, it's all about context and who uses it. So I might be able to use it, but a man using it in an angry way towards me, that's a very different use.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I think there are words on this list which, if we're all being honest, we use in private with our friends, with our family or whatever. But you're not necessarily using them in a nasty or derogatory way. You're using them, more as throwaway words. I guess it's different when you're broadcasting because you've got people watching, and probably children and stuff like that. So it's different. But isn't it funny how we get so offended and shocked, but actually, if you study your own behaviour, how many of the words on the list have you actually used?
Oh, absolutely right. The as I always say, it's all about the context. Language lives in a context and in a particular time. You go back 50 years and the words that people use that, that were found really, really offensive would have been quite different. What might have stayed maybe more stable are the categories that we draw these words from, things to do with gender, with ethnicity, with mental health and disability. And yeah, those kinds of categories maybe have stayed the same. But in general, there's a lot of variation. And the way that we use language in public versus the way we use it in private is very, very different.
Andreea, lovely to talk to you. Thanks so much for being with me this morning.
Thanks, Ryan.
That's Andreea Calude, who's Waikato University linguistics expert.